I'm trying to gauge and scale both of them. I'm being a gauge boson and a scale boson about what the black body problem is and how to determine it when I'm breaking this and I'm fixing this later about augmenting now that we're going to get into some lights and growing some ganja and we're going to get it. I can't even have any of the chemical spectrum yet because it doesn't exist. It doesn't. So when you're trying to break this down to that quantum limit, now here I do got some new stuff for the video. I was hacking along through this and okay, so those two right. So beautiful day. Don't let it slip away. Time you walked out. Okay, so now we did that. We understand that why the black body problem, where these numbers are on the chart. You want to find 5,000 Kelvin? You're going to be able to find it on which of that top line right there for Raywell, Maxwell, and Jeans. Later on, we'll be getting into. Before, we really need to know it's actually Gustav Kirchhoff, but the name's fun because coming from Mud. You just play the game with me here about, that's how you get that memorization. They don't really need to know your name, but they recognize you as the black body problem, right? That's your new porn star name, dancing around the dipole. And you dance at the max. And that's our sun's max. That's not Beetlejuice. Bigger later on a spectrometry, which we're going to get into. I do have two equal spaces right here for another inch and a quarter, or excuse me, inch and a half brick, inch and a half brick, inch and a half brick, inch and a half brick. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to add this one and this one first, probably in the other order. I don't want to switch off the nanometers just yet, right? I want to have, seeing that this is nanometers, and the original black body problem I have here is going to be in nanometers on the other side about what that is. But here, when we get to the actual spectrum of LED lights and some of these other things, we had to know that our sun, it's in the bandwidth of 501 nanometers on this band, this wave function in electromagnetism that is parallel to this. Before we even really know, we got to get it to the point on the one half of the idea, I guess, on the S order, P order, D order, F order, and why uranium and hydrogen and why the composition of water does some stuff. And I'm not quite technically NP complete in that just yet, especially while working on trying to develop the Hofer lines into that spectrum, because that's an important notation, changing that scale over and then bringing that to the ionized form of what that is when nanometers are between 0 and 300 for what it does, and the ideal chart for what it does about spectrometry when we want to flatten this out and say, well, that magnesium, sodium, titanium spectrum is going to do what it needs to do, or these LEDs that pin when we're putting them on this chart of nanometers for any type of grow system that we want. If you just want to do blue light, 1 drop of soap. Remember that 1 drop of soap thing? Well, this is that 1 drop of soap thing inside of how you integrated that magnesium. Will it also later on in that substrate solution have issues of bleaching and magnesium or ionization differences where you have a nitrogen lock because of an acid or a base inside of that system? Sure does. And we got to make sure that we're not just understanding that, but making sure that you have a process in terms of watching that thing exponentially run off or drop off, in terms of what time phases in those wavelets that are inside of there are important to your chart here on a double staircase. I was trying to find that uranium one. I think it's this one up here, and I was working on the one with the elements, the element that never was, Yeah, here we go. Just trying to dig it, and I don't know exactly how to integrate this into there yet until I get those other states down on the black body problem. Because while we're doing our technique out, the grow box here, it says CC, the CCTV and the causal nature, especially after the grow box tracking the sun, C1A, or here the grow box black body problem continued, or for the continued CC, giving you the name of somebody who came up with the black body. That's going to give a lot of these other guys that 145 on the sine or cosine for this. That allows us to then work out what the periodic table is. Now that we have it already and we're integrating the Gresham's law of these systems, I also wanted to integrate a number about Fourier inside of here, not only to the watts of your house in that grow box, but how this will chemistry later on, not just to your grow box, but passively. I'm mainlining the neutrino as a marijuana grow, so you got to play with me, MD, about that being a nutritionist or some kind of MD inside of there at least. Because there's a lot of spectrums, most likely the lowercase a lot, but it's in the form of a capital because humanity. As long as that spectrum kind of comes in there, you are what you eat, Gilligan. So if you packing down the bananas, man, you probably made a magic money.